कुमार साहब नायक गोंगो लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
In the news tonight, $35 million grant from Australia. Disease hotspots identified. And rehabilitation begins on Kia Island.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nunn.
Bulawanaka, Fiji, leading our bulletin tonight. 2020 brought challenges, being battered by climate change and the catastrophic COVID-19 that has caused hardship for every Fijian. While delivering his New Year's message, Prime Minister Voreng Bainimarama said Fijians should find pride in how we've met the adversity together as communities and as a country. He says Tropical Cyclone Yasa was a cruel twist to a tough year. Josiah Nanunga reports.
As Fijians count the minutes to the stroke of midnight, Bainimarama says we must take a pause and spare a moment to count our blessings. However, the Prime Minister is urging Fijians to commit themselves to staying safe behind the wheel.
This holiday season has already seen far too many accidents and deaths on our roads. We simply cannot stand the heartbreak of losing more family members to reckless driving. It doesn't matter where you're going. It is not worth anyone's life to get there. Please, respect the speed limit, buckle up, and keep our roads safe to drive.
The Prime Minister has assured the government remains committed to rebuilding back better, similar to what was done post-TC Winston in 2016.
There will be children in classrooms and essential services that reach our people because we are delivering on our promise of a more resilient Fiji. And that should steel our faith that we will emerge stronger from Yasa. And we will come out stronger from this global pandemic and resulting economic crisis, as will our businesses, our industries, and our economy.
Bainimarama says the COVID-19 pandemic will range on for months or more, but the light of a new and better year is peering through the clouds.
Hope is on the horizon. Hope that life will become more normal than it has been and is today. Hope that our economy regains its strength and our people reclaim their prosperity. And hope that even as our climate keeps changing, so will we.
He also acknowledged the frontline workers who've made a lot of sacrifices in making Fiji a COVID-contained country, even 257 days since Fiji's last local case. Josiah Nanunga, FBC News.
The Australian government has provided more than $35 million to help Fiji recover from the impact of COVID-19. $31 million will go towards the poverty benefit scheme, while $2.5 million will be used in budget support. Minister for Economy Aya Syed Kayum says the assistance is a boost given the inability to raise revenue from the tourism sector. Venina Rakautonga reports.
The multi-million-dollar grant will lighten government's financial burden as Fiji recovers from TCASA.
And the funding that's already been allocated for that, we'll be able to use it in other areas. Of course, as you know, some of these expenses that we did not anticipate, such as, for example, the cyclone expenses, etc., we'll be able to meet those expenses and other general budget support.
Syed Kayum says the funding will also be channeled towards unexpected public infrastructure expenses that need to be addressed.
This indeed is further strengthening of our bond, not just a part that's played by a family member, but of course it is morally incumbent for us to be able to look after each other.
Acting Australian High Commissioner to Fiji, Anna Donny, says the grant agreement is designed to ensure that the most vulnerable get the help they need.
The minister is quick to point out that government has enough money to fund for rehabilitation work post-TCASA and COVID-19 recovery. The Australian funding is only to top up states' coffers.
Announced today is to assist the government of Fiji address some of these social and economic implications. These funds will be used to support social welfare payments through the government of Fiji's poverty benefit scheme, care and protection allowance, and disability allowance.
The Australian government had also committed more than $7 million worth of humanitarian assistance. Venina Rakautonga, FBC News.
The Ministry of Health is keeping a close eye on historical leptospirosis, typhoid, dengue fever and diarrhea hotspots in the Northern Division. Acting Divisional Medical Officer North Dr. Tiko Saumalua says these spots normally have surges in cases after a natural disaster. Dr. Saumalua says while they have had some active cases in these areas before TCYASA, they have not received any cases post the cyclone. Kritika Kumar reports.
The Acting Divisional Medical Officer North says reports of water and hygiene-related diseases have all been cleared.
The threat of LTDs is real here in the north, and because of the festive season, it can blow out of proportion. So the advice from commissioners for the communities outside of Honolulu just to cut out their travel into these hot zones areas.
Dr. Saumalua says they are coordinating with the Northern DISMAC team to curb any possible outbreak.
The people, the community in these hot zone areas to take health advisory seriously and clean their surroundings, make sure hygiene is there, and the sanitation and water part, it's upheld.
The Ministry of Health has identified 8 hotspot areas for the province of Bua, which is in the red zone area for destruction caused by TCYASA.
We are going to individual homes right now, attending to those who are badly affected out in the red zone, and we are also visiting some outside the red zone areas.
Maduwata, where 4 districts are included in the red zone area, has identified 15 LTDD hotspot areas. These are Nalemba, Dongeloa, Vunika, Soasoa, Vunivau, Bulileka, Batnikama, Siberia, Nasekula, Tuatua, Lajunia, Wengele, Wailevu, Tamundola and Tambia. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
A team of RFMF engineers in Lambasa has been deployed to Kia Island to clean up and build temporary shelters. Kia was hit severely by TCYASA. Eleanor Turangaivu reports.
This team from the RFMF Engineers Division has been on Kia Island for 5 days now. They have the mammoth task of clearing everything left damaged and dismantled by TCYASA on Yarrow Village.
We are so grateful for the huge task they are doing. It's not easy. If they're not here, I don't know. We won't be able to do it.
Apart from cleaning, the team is also building temporary shelters for the 28 families in Yarrow Village whose homes have been destroyed in the wake of the Category 5 severe tropical cyclone.
I want to thank the engineers for coming to our village and helping us. They have cleaned and made shelter for almost half the village.
Commissioner Northern Division Urere Nima says it's imperative that the affected villages have shelter.
We are expecting the same to happen in other islands as well. Those who are badly affected, we are expecting to send groups out there to do fast fix so that at least they have a roof above their head and to protect them from the adverse weather conditions.
Another team from the RFMF engineers has already been deployed to the Nya in Wainonumboa to undertake the same rehabilitation work. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
The management of the Social Democratic Liberal Party says members have the right to seek legal redress without being intimidated. 3 former board members, Ilaitia Bavandra, Taitusi Rasoki and Felice Matambongi, have filed a legal challenge against Sodelpa's election of party leader, the deputy leader and other executives. Party leader Willem Ngavoka, in trying to hold the party's reputation together, says these members feel their grievances have not been dealt with according to their expectations.
The party is confident that despite all this, Sodelpa will remain a beacon of light to many who would appreciate that a good team discusses and communicates. And it allows its members to have a voice via whichever medium they choose, including the courts. These challenges are not deterring the party. However, recognizing that the bigger responsibilities that we face in the future.
Up ahead, road accidents worry police. and UN helps revive North agriculture.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Welcome back. With New Year's celebrations expected to continue, Fijians have been urged to refrain from splashing water on moving vehicles. Police Chief of Operations ACP Abdul Khan says this is dangerous and can pose a risk to the lives of others. Pranita Prakash reports.
Despite several reminders, young children are often seen splashing water on passing vehicles.
You cannot splash water on moving vehicles, and there would be objects in that that can do damages and also injuries to people in the vehicles. We will be closely monitoring that, and also we urge the parents and the guardians that are there for them to have a look out on their kids as well, because this is mostly done by the kids out there on the roads.
This often happens near bridges where children fill up buckets and plastic bags with water and throw it on moving vehicles. It is a common sight during New Year's. Fijians have also been warned to refrain from using bamboo guns as this is illegal.
We would urge on the safety of everybody to refrain from using bamboo guns, because if kids are unsupervised or anything, there can be injuries or casualties as well in relation to that.
Homemade fireworks are not allowed. This includes bamboo guns, which are not allowed. And also there's been instances in the past where individuals have tampered with fireworks that are being bought from the shops. For example, these individuals are removing the pyrotechnic powder or content from the fireworks and trying to use that to make homemade fireworks. The Department of Ministry would like to plead with all Fijians to refrain from doing this.
The Mineral Resources Department says Fijians can only use fireworks until 10 p.m. and not at midnight. This also applies between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. tomorrow. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
Every new year gives us the opportunity to create a vision that will bring about positive change. These are the words of Archbishop Peter Loy-Chong in his New Year's message. Archbishop Loy-Chong says COVID-19 and Tropical Cyclone Yasa has impacted Fiji in addition to the detrimental effects of climate change. He's congratulated the Fijian government for championing the blue ocean economy and climate change. The Archbishop also highlighted domestic violence as a serious social problem. Father Loy-Chong adds these challenges have reminded us the importance of embracing love and care for one another. 45 road fatalities have been recorded so far this year. With just a few hours left for 2020, the Fiji Police Force says November and December have seen the most deaths on our roads. 7 people lost their lives last month, while 6 Fijians died over the Christmas break. Kelly Vadala reports.
The public can expect an increase in police visibility from tonight heading into the new year.
Whilst you are partying, be responsible out there. And remember that you have loved ones there. We do not want any lives to be lost during this New Year's party, New Year's Eve. And we want to wish every individual in this country a safe New Year.
The Accident Compensation Commission of Fiji says the 2 recent fatal accidents in Te Level raises alarm bells.
From the 23rd of December, we have had 4 serious motor vehicle accidents. And between the 25th and 28th of December, we've actually lost 5 lives. So that's 5 lives in a space of 3 days, which is completely unacceptable.
Chief Executive Pervez Akbar says victims can apply for compensation given the nature of the accident.
The victims of the accidents, those who have suffered personal injury, they can apply themselves or someone on their behalf can apply for compensation. And as far as those who have passed away, their legal personal representatives can apply on their behalf for compensation. As long as none of the exclusions apply, then there will be an entitlement to compensation.
Police are urging motorists to be patient, plan their journey well and not rush to the destination during the New Year period. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Huge increases in hotel bookings have been recorded this festive season, seeing unemployed staff rehired after months without work. The Fiji Hotel and Tourism Association says 2020 has been disastrous, but they've been inspired by the response from locals. Koroi Tandulala reports.
Most hotels which have been idle for months are seeing record bookings over the festive period.
Most of the Fiji hotel and tourism members around the country report that Christmas was surprisingly busy in most regions. You need to keep in mind that while less than 40% of the total 12,000 room inventory is now available, of this availability, 79% occupancies were reported, and in some of the tourism hotspots like General, even 100%.
Lockington says the Love Our Local initiative and low rates have encouraged a lot of Fijians to support the local tourism sector.
They tend to be very last minute with domestic tourism. Our members are doing their best to both offer value adds or inclusions, like breakfast, special dinners, happy hour specials, kids eat free, and even meal package options. And this has allowed a lot of the resorts to bring back more staff.
Permanent Secretary for Tourism Shaheen Ali says while they are pleased with the locals' response, they are also continuing talks for international tourism.
The industry, as well as our partners, Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Tourism, are well prepared to receive our visitors safely and have a commitment from our visitors to keep Fiji safe, and at the same time have a commitment from Fijian stakeholders to keep our visitors safe as well.
Exotic island resort and remote getaways aren't seeing as much of an influx and are still all running on reduced capacity. Kurai Tandulala, FBC News.
And now 2020's last business update with Josaina Nunga.
Thanks, Edwin. Coming up, COVID-safe New Year celebrations under. And in growing Fiji, more interest in Fiji cover. Stay with us.
Pula nadang go prosalan garse go erkraki do televisión no barong na Radio Fiji 1 na domibit.
Radio Fiji 1.
Leading business tonight, the Radisson Blue Resort Fiji is all geared up to welcome in the new year, despite 2020 being one of the toughest due to COVID-19. With the resort fully booked since Christmas, a number of events have been planned for the long weekend in anticipation of 2021. Details with Felipe Necaso.
It will be a different New Year celebration for the Radisson Blue Resort as they'll be welcoming 2021 with local guests tonight.
The New Year's Eve, I think, is going to be way more party because we have our local guests coming, and they're normally a little bit more intensive in the partying than the international guests. International guests normally sit back, relax, and the Fijians are full on party, and we're looking really forward.
With a challenging year till to date, the hotel is expecting to put smiles on the locals' faces as they welcome the new year.
We've planned accordingly to our local market, who has been very supportive to us this year. As you know, it's been a challenging year for everyone.
We have a very nice Mediterranean spread on the buffet. We're having some entrees from Italy, we're having entrees from Spain, we're having a Lebanese mesa. The hot dishes will be consistent from Lebanon, will be also from Italy again. So we'll be all over the Mediterranean, our buffet.
The resort is also keeping in mind the COVID restrictions that are in place and have stressed the importance to the guests during their stay. Felipe Necaso, FBC News.
We now join Sharon from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
Hello there. The Euro, Aussie and Kiwi dollars all posted more than 2-year highs against the struggling US dollar in today's active trading. Investors are positioned for light year-end trading. They hope for an improved economic outlook as COVID-19 vaccines are rolled out and fiscal and monetary stimuli boost global growth and asset prices. However, US economic growth is expected to drag behind its peers, with the US dollar suffering from rising fiscal and current account deficits as the government increases spending. And with most markets keeping close tomorrow for the New Year celebration, the currency trading will be limited. But for now, that's all from me and the staff and management team of your HFC Bank. We wish you and yours a Happy New Year. Finaka.
Here are the local exchange rates as set early this morning. The Fiji dollar was pegged high against the Chinese yuan and the US greenback, as well as the PNG kina, euro and the Japanese yen. But the Sangamoli dropped slightly versus our two major trading partners, losing some ground against the Kiwi dollar and Aussie dollar. Prices were rising on the commodities market. Oil prices rose a few cents to close at $48 a barrel. Gold rose closing at $1,893 per ounce. And silver closed up at $26 to $59. And in growing Fiji, there is growing demand for cover from the Asian market. The Permanent Secretary for Commerce and Trade, Shaheen Ali, says the Asian buyers have been making inquiries for several months. He adds that through the Bovale partnership, they are also liaising with Australia for commercial cover exports, but talks will not resume until after the COVID-19 pandemic. Ali says they are also talking to other potential markets.
We are talking to countries that have cover bans, like UK and some of the countries in Europe that may have some logistical issues.
And that's all from Business Tonight. Jamie is up next with all the very latest in sports.
Vinaka Josiah, and good evening. Coming up, sports bubble still an option for New Year. And Fijiana Sevens need more game time. This and more after the break.
कुमार साहब ने नाइक है गोंगो लुबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में
2020 is done and dusted, but what can sport do in 2021 to help the country economically? This question is being asked by Fiji Sports Commission Chair Peter Mazie, who says they are in serious discussions about a sports bubble that might make way for the All Blacks to play in Fiji. Akuladama reports.
For many, 2020 is a year they'd rather forget, and for the Sports Commission, life must go on, which is why they're exploring options for 2021.
We do have opportunities are starting to come. We may be able to open up, and we are talking of a sports bubble very seriously, where we could even have the All Blacks come over.
Speaking to FBC Sports, Mazie says if they get the green light, those involved may have to go into a protected bubble and no crowd will be allowed.
Which means that the stadium will be a bubble, the training grounds will be a bubble, the hotel accommodation will be a bubble, and they'll come in on one plane that'll be their bubble. So basically it won't be for the public.
Netball is our best bet of hosting an international tournament next year, as we missed out on one of the biggest events of 2020.
We're hoping for nation's PNS to our President Rugby and Sarawak is in talks with having that to be revived again. So and also our national our Youth World Cup to be held at the end of the year here in Fiji.
Mazie says that sports need to play a part in getting our economy back on the fast lane.
We're looking to the future because the past is 2020 is gone. So now we have to look at what can we do to get sports up and running again. It's very good for the economy of the country. It's very good for the mental state of the country.
The pandemic may have dashed some sporting hopes this year, but 2021 is a new ballgame altogether. Aquila Dhama, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Sevens training squad ended the 2020 season at Mount Korumbamba yesterday without head coach Gareth Baber. Strength and conditioning coach Nathanieli Dhawanimbuka took the team to the mountain. Fiji Rugby Union Chief Executive John O'Connor says Baber has gone with his family to Wales and will return next week. Baber will spend 14 days in quarantine when he returns, and if cleared will be available for the first tournament in the FRU Super Series. The Fijiana Sevens side will field 2 teams in the Fiji Rugby Union Super Series next year. The 4-tournament series will feature 16 men's and 6 women's teams vying for top honours. The initiative has been brought about to keep the national squad members engaged in rugby, with the remainder of the 2019-2020 World Series tournaments being cancelled due to the ongoing pandemic. Head coach Sayasi Fuli says they've already begun preparing for the Super Series scheduled for the end of next month.
It's good. It's a very healthy and a very good initiative from FRU to introduce the Sevens series locally. Top 16 teams for men's, and we have we'll start off with I believe 6 women's team, and it's good that for next year we will try and split our girls into 2 to 3 teams and be involved in that local series.
Cricket Fiji has shifted its focus to selecting the national squad in April. With the new season starting next week with the T20 Club League competition, selectors will have a chance to scout potential players for the national team. Caroline Tavi reports.
With a busy calendar ahead, Cricket Fiji is taking a holistic approach to selecting both the men and women's team.
Because most of these cricketers, women cricketers, this is the first time in playing cricket, the first season. And so these are the areas that identify just batting skills, bowling, and particularly fielding skills as well. Try and impart all these skills to a player to have that holistic approach in their development, in terms of cricket development.
Chief Executive Alex Conrate says it's not the fame that comes with donning the white jersey, but the pride of representing the country in the international stage.
So first and foremost, we'll be looking at, we know the skill levels are high, but we're looking holistically at everything around it. But we're looking for dedicated people who are here to play cricket for Fiji, and not for themselves or just to see what they can get out of Cricket Fiji.
Conrate adds this is part of the long-term plan to develop the sport locally.
So when we name this national squad, we'll also be naming a few under-19 players, and not necessarily immediately. We're looking at players that will be under 19 for the next 2-3 years. So looking at 15 to 17-year-olds.
Prior to naming the national squad, Cricket Fiji will have the men's extended squad go through a training program through its high-performance unit. Caroline Tavi, FBC Sports.
That's it from sports tonight. In new media, digital currency flourishes under COVID-19. Find out more after the break.
हमारे सामने नायक है गोंगवा लेबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
It was another fine sunny day across most of Fiji. In the west, it was warm with generally clear skies. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, patches of heavy cloud and light showers began the day, and up north, partly cloudy with a few scattered showers. At sea, easterly winds at 10 to 15 knots are generating moderate swells. Turning to the tides, the next low tide is at 2:57 a.m. followed by high tide at 9:12 tomorrow morning. Sunrise is at 6:33. For New Year's Day, sunshine with scattered showers and possible heavy downpours at times. And Sunday's weather will be much the same. And in Fijian Pulse, we ask, what is your New Year's resolution?
My New Year's resolution in regards to the pandemic that we are facing at the moment, just to strengthen and improve my relationship with God, most importantly, and also the relationship with our families and fellow friends.
So my New Year's resolution is to further my education in the diploma of dance and to pass on the message to those that do not know or those that are not out yet to come and try it out because it's not that hard.
My New Year's resolution is to build my relationship with my family and God.
Most common weakness is procrastinating. Probably 2021 will actually help me solve that issue of mine and actually focus to get my degree done finally after 4 years of struggling. So happy 2021 to everyone out there.
And recapping our main stories tonight, $35 million grant from Australia, disease hotspots identified, and rehabilitation begins on Kia Island. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we are asking, are you looking forward to borders reopening? Visit our FBC website to answer. And to our shot of the day, a bird's eye view of Fiji's crystal blue waters as we bid farewell to 2020. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our various social media accounts including Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. That's your news for this evening. I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, from all of us here at FBC, we wish you a prosperous new year. Modemanda.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।